Hold on for a sec. All right, here we go. Sorry, we're gonna start all over again. What's up, everybody? My name is Nate. Welcome everybody to an all-new episode of the LoudCasa Talks. With me on my side is my good co-host Omid. So, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing, Loud Crowd and Casa Crew? Oh man,
So,
let me tell you, it's totally been a while, but needless to say, we're finally here.
yes, I must say, like, it has been 3 weeks since we did our last podcast. I know a lot of things have happened recently, especially that Halloween just came last week. I think it was last weekend, right? With the track and
Yeah,
time and all.
it
But
was.
yeah, how's your Halloween plans been, Omid?
Well, needless to say, now the first half of the Halloween day, it was busy as hell because I had a long shift at my new job at Macy's. But after I got back from work, that's when I started getting into the Halloween spirit. Because after I got back, what I did was that I ate dinner, then I got into my Lynn Loud cosplay, dressed as Lynn for Halloween. Then I gathered all my Loud sibling plushies, and all the and then we the Louds, we all just watched my favorite horror movie of all time, Bram Stoker's Dracula, with
Oh,
Gary
nice,
Oldman as Dracula himself,
nice, nice.
while watching on buttered popcorn.
See, as long as you had like a good Halloween plan, that's great because I know that this Halloween has been a whole lot different considering that we can't really go outside with the whole pandemic and all. So trick or treating or going to parties and things like that has just pretty much been off the not in our plans recent for Halloween. That is.
Yeah, honestly, it's unfortunate, but I do try to make the best of it. As the old saying goes, when life gives you lemons, you just make lemonade. How was your
Yeah.
Halloween plans, by the
Yeah,
way?
yeah. So my Halloween plans was okay. I hanged out with a couple of friends. We did do the thing where we have to actually like not have a big group. We ended up having like a group of 7 people, and all we did was just hanged out, ate food together. Just a chill time. I remember I was in my friend. There was a stream going on with my friend that we ended up participating in, and we been a part of that stream on Twitch. So yeah, that was just pretty much a chill night. Not really much happening with Halloween, like not going out trick or treating. But I just remember cosplaying in my Zenitsu cosplay, and I was just hanging out with people. That was pretty much it.
Oh yeah, that's nice. So we both kind of cosplayed in that year at that Halloween night, pretty much.
Yeah, I also noticed that you also did have a brand new job again. So you want to explain a little bit of that?
Needless to say, I've been job hunting, going from one job to another, like for the past months or so, and I finally landed a job where I can work sufficient hours. Now, the department I work in is the houseware department on the third floor at New Park Mall. So on my lunch break, I would just grab whatever's at the food court.
So I'm pretty surprised that you are continuing to follow my job career path because I worked at that Paris Spaghetti. Oh well, I worked at Paris Spaghetti before, and then you're now working at Macy's. So what are you trying to do? You trying to take my jobs that I picked up
It's
before?
It's a massive coincidence. Yeah. What department did you used to work at? Did you
Actually,
used to
for
work at men's or?
no, I worked at men's. I worked at housing, housewares as well. But the other thing too is that when you're working seasonal, you work everywhere. So you work in the housing department, you work in the men's department. But of course, you can't work in the women's department because it's all women's stuff. But they get you everywhere in Macy's. So especially when it comes to Thanksgiving, I hope things don't get too crazy. But you need to probably work at Thanksgiving.
Black Friday. Yeah. That's gonna be like from mid afternoon to midnight. So it's not gonna be too bad. I don't think. And I think it's gonna be a bit different considering you know during these COVID times. I don't think there's gonna be as much people. It's not gonna be as crowded because it is COVID. It is the pandemic. So I think the policies nowadays is gonna be a bit different. But we'll
All
wait
right.
and see on that.
Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyways, without further ado, let's continue on with this podcast. Let's move on to our recent news. And I know we have been 3 weeks out since we did our last podcast, so this is gonna be a lot of news that we're gonna bring in. So let's go straight to our recent news. So first off, we all been waiting for the date, and we finally have confirmation for Cursed. That is coming up November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving. I did not expect that.
Hell yeah.
Although to be honest, the last time they did a Loud Casa Grande crossover was the loudest Thanksgiving, and was kind of coincidental that's actually during Thanksgiving. So we now got the date. How are you feeling, and how are your thoughts now about this new special about to premiere this month?
Yeah. Okay. Isn't it a coincidence that a Loud House and Casagrande crossover episode is happening before Thanksgiving, or is it really just me? Because I noticed that the last Loud House and Casagrande crossover did take place during Thanksgiving. You know, the Loud Thanksgiving special. I think it was coincidental. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think. I don't think so. I don't know. Anyway, but for real though, I'm looking forward to this. Forward. Mainly because it has the potential to be even better than Loudest Thanksgiving, but there are two ways that it can succeed. One, we need more personal interactions between each Loud and each Casa Grande, which was something we could have gone in the last crossover episode. Like, for instance, have more Carl and Lola interactions, more Maria and Rita interactions, and of course, Carloa and Lenny being BFFs.
I got
Number
okay.
two.
Oh, go
Number
ahead.
two. Number two. I'm sort of wondering if Lincoln can give Ronnie Ann, take Ronnie Ann down a trip down memory lane, Royal Woods High, and then maybe even have Ronnie Ann meet Stella at one point.
Oh my god, dude, that's not gonna
Hey,
be a little. That's gonna be a little bit not happening.
hey,
I don't what a love triangle
triangle,
is a love triangle.
triangle.
Are we really gonna have that like a Ronniekin versus a Stellakin little ship battle here? I don't think it's gonna happen in a 30-minute episode, but I know it's just gonna be mostly focused on Casagrandes and Louds. I am really thinking that is going to be where the siblings are going to interact. To your point, Omid, I really do hope that we get a Lola and Carl interaction. I mean, Carlota and Lenny. I mean, the fact that both of them are being influencers, I can totally see those two like collaborating on a brand new project or something like that. Of course, the biggest thing that we want to see is, of course, Ronnie and Lincoln could, hanging out together, and that's going to be the big thing. I mean, this whole week we're currently celebrating Ronikin Week, so I mean, if it's gonna get you all excited up about how excited this episode's going to be, I mean, this is going to be like a little teaser coming into November 25th when the episode airs.
Whoop.
Yeah, I can't wait to. But the other thing too is that the story about Curse. I know it's all about a curse falling into Great Lake City. I mean, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how is this going to be solved, et cetera, et cetera?
Cursed. Cursed. I think that I don't think there's going to be as much conflict in Loud Thanksgiving as there is going to be in Curse. But I think since it's going to be like the reason why decided to move in with the Louds is because there's this voodoo or curse or whatever, and I think Lucy Loud is going to come and resolve it. Like, I think they're going to call on Lucy Loud to help, like, get rid of the voodoo ghost thing, because you know how Lucy is with that kind of supernatural stuff, which we're going to get into later, coincidentally enough. So basically, I think it's going to be like this sort of supernatural housewarming, two families coming together sort of big episode.
Yeah. Although, to be honest, I just really love, the fact that there is going to be an episode about just a curse where they have to solve in Great Lake City. But the other thing too is just more of Ronnie Ann and Link, more of the Casagrandes and the Louds just interacting. I think that's more of the focus in this episode for me. Like, I understand the whole point of the whole episode of a curse falling in Great Lake City, but I think the really big important part of this episode is just more of the interactions between the Louds and Casagrandes. That's what I think, in my opinion. All right. But yeah, Curse is coming out November 25th. Mark your dates, whoever is listening in, because you do not want to miss out on this special. That's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely don't. It's going to be probably the most hyped episode that is going to come out in the future.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to another news that also came out. So in December, we also are going to bring out brand new Loud House episodes. And these are the Christmas episodes that we were actually being teased of as of this moment. Seasons Cheating and Eclipse Christmas. Season's Cheating is a episode where Lincoln, it's something about gift wrapping, and Lincoln was trying to tease on, like, spy on, like, how the gifts are or things like that. And I don't know how it is, but I forgot the synopsis on that. And A Flip Christmas is pretty much the Christmas Carol, but with Flip as the Mr. Scrooge in the episode. Although I'm kind of surprised it says 15-minute episode for Flip's Christmas. I thought that was going to be a special, but they gave us 15 minutes for this, and I'm kind of worried about that. I thought we were going to have a special for Flip's Christmas, but I guess we're counting 15 minutes. What are your thoughts on these 2 episodes coming out this December?
Okay, Season's Cheating, I think it's going to be sort of a meh. It's going to pretty much follow the same old, Lincoln does a bad thing for selfish intentions. Then, he gets called out on it. Lincoln feels bad. He tries to fix everything. Lather, rinse, repeat. So honestly, with Season's Cheating, I feel that it's going to be like the same old Lincoln Loud episode formula, but sort of a Christmas edition of that.
Yeah.
But Flip Christmas, okay, I'm excited for a Loud House Christmas Carol. Like, I'm not excited for a Loud House version of Christmas Carol. But why? Why Flip of all characters? Why Flip? Why couldn't you have Mr. Grouse? Mr. Grouse would have fit much more in sort of an Ebenezer Scrooge role than freaking Flip. Because, hey, everyone supposedly loves Flip, or, everyone's been asking for more Flip. No, not really. They never really asked for it in the first place, so why do you even overexpose Flip? But I digress. Honestly, with the Flip Christmas, I feel like, I'm excited for all the other elements for a Flip Christmas, except for Flip himself, actually. I kind of want to see Cratchit, like Lincoln Loud as a Cratchit, and either Ronnie Ann or Stella as Cratchit's wife.
What? Ooh. And so you really are pushing on the Ronnie Ann. You're really pushing on Roddykin and Stellakin tonight here.
I'm just saying, like, if they were to have Lincoln Loud as Cratchit, I think they would go for either of the two. I've been speculated that it could be either of the two. But honestly, I want to know who would be the perfect Tiny Tim for a Flip Christmas.
I think any one of the little kids. I would say, like, maybe no, Lily might be a little too young. Maybe Lana could be a very good Tiny Tim. I could see Lana be a good Tiny Tim.
I would say that Lana's too energetic to be Tiny Tim. I think maybe it could be Lola's friend Millie, but instead have her be like.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Oh my god!
I don't know. Have her be an alternate version of Tiny Tim. Like, since it's gender bent, why not call her Mini Millie? Like, you can have Millie as the Tiny Tim of a Flip Christmas. I think that'd be a genius, because Millie, think about it, Millie is more of a sort of a timid sort of character. So I feel that it blends more well into integrating the character of Tiny Tim.
Yeah. Here's the other thing I also want to ask you, since we're actually talking about characters that are going to be in this Christmas Carol Flip Christmas thing. How are the ghosts? Who do you think are going to be the ghosts? Like Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future?
Okay. Now, despite the fact that I really wanted Mr. Grouse to be Ebenezer Scrooge had said, I would have to say that the 3 ghosts that do come to mind are Lynn Sr., Mr. Grouse.
Mr. Grouse, okay.
And who would be the third one?
Probably Lucy. I would probably say Lucy because I would say Lucy just because
Ghost of Christmas Future.
Yeah, he's pretty much.
Oh my god! Yes. Oh my god! Why didn't I think of that? Yes, Lucy Loud as a Ghost of Christmas Future. Yes, that's perfect.
I was
Ghost of Christmas Future is basically the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of more of the sisters. I was thinking like Lori could be like Christmas past, and Christmas present will be like Lynn Jr. in one case, and then Christmas future will be Lucy. Like, I mean, it would be pretty interesting because I know Christmas past is, forgot what, like, Jesus Christ and everything, and then Christmas present is Santa Claus. Christmas future is the Grim Reaper. So having those 3 sisters, I would imagine that being like a good thing. So yeah.
Oh dear Lord! Imagine like Lori being the ghost of Christmas past, like, Ooh, Mr. Grouse, you literally screwed me over. Ooh, Mr. Grouse, you.
Okay.
No, oh no, oh no. Ooh, Mr. Flip, Mr. Flip,
Okay.
you are literally the grouchiest person ever on Christmas. Ooh, you're literally so greedy.
That'll be pretty interesting. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I do want to have to agree though. Flip would be a perfect Mr. Scrooge to me. I mean, like you might say Mr. Grouse might be a good Scrooge, but Flip, we all know about him. He's kind of like a nasty, disgusting person, and I have to say, Flip was actually a perfect role to be Scrooge to me. That's what I think, in my opinion.
Okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion, but as someone who is has gotten sick and tired of flipping the overexposure of Flip, especially nowadays, I feel that the role should have gone to someone else, but that's just
Dude,
me.
you know that they're going to continue to milk Flip now, and it kind of sucks because yeah, Flip is Flip.
Why? Why? Who asked for more Flip? Let me ask you, who
We
asked
gotta
for
talk to
more
the fan. We gotta talk to the fans about this.
God, honestly, like if you want gross out humor, like honestly, go to Lana. Like she delivers on gross out humor.
That
Okay.
works. Yeah, that works. But there's Flip, and what kind of sucks?
Or
What kind of sucks is that there's more Flip. There's like more Flip appearances than Mr. Grouse, which kind of sucks because I was thinking Mr. Grouse could be more, you know, impacting since they're neighbors and all. But no, we're getting more Flip, and it's kind of.
or okay, like if they're trying to make Flip the comic relief, even that doesn't work either because you already have your comic reliefs in the actual series and they're in the main cast. Like you got Lenny Loud, you got Luann Loud. Like you basically got an entire you got an entire cast of funny characters without having friggin' Flip in there. So what's the point of Flip? Like, oh, he's just funny and gross and disgusting. It's like we already got those. Like the Loud sisters already have those qualities.
Unfortunately, there's still more Flip, so I can't say much about it. Hopefully, like this whole Flips Christmas will probably be like hopefully a small little trickle of no more Flip episodes, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, we're gonna review Blinded by Science in the next podcast, but I'm gonna say that one was a bad episode.
God,
Yeah,
I am.
yeah.
Oh
Look,
God,
I feel your agony,
I,
Mead.
boy, I so cannot wait to not talk about this episode. Like, can we please just skip that freaking episode? Just move on to an actual good episode that's actually worth talking about, which is its really amazing sister episode, please. Band together. Band together.
That's gonna be
10 out of
coming up
10.
next. That's gonna be coming up our next episode. But right now we're gonna be continuing on with our episode reviews. But it's not gonna be those episodes. We're gonna be reviewing Ghosted and the 2 Casagrandes episodes. So let's get to it right now with our episode reviews. So first thing that we want to talk about is the special on the Loud House called Ghosted. There it is. So, yeah, the synopsis here is Lori banishes a ghost she believes is haunting her, but when Fairy's golf team starts to struggle, she realizes she needs to bring it back to the team's luck around. So, it seems that a ghost is really haunting Lori. How did you like the concept of this episode?
Now, while it may seem a bit out there for a slice of life environment, I feel that this was pretty enjoyable. There are some flaws I found with this episode, though, but I'm going to address them soon.
Okay. But I mean, that's just an interesting thing that they just put up a Halloween episode where apparently a ghost is haunting the was it Fairway University, and this is just more of like them trying to pull up a plot out of their writing team and say something about anything Halloweeny. So they brought up with this idea, and I thought that was okay, but yeah, we'll talk more about it, like you said, Omid. Now, now we know Lori has a problem. She obviously had to call ghost experts. Only that she called Clyde first before Lincoln. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it rubbed me off the wrong way. I mean, for God's sake, Lori, you haven't seen your brother for months due to you going to college, and you contact your brother's best friend who used to have a creepy crush on you instead of your brother who we have seen have a deep sibling relationship. Come on, Lori. You literally can't be serious.
I was actually just mixed up with his feelings. Yes, I understand the whole Lori and Lincoln chemistry pretty much died or something in that little moment. But I mean, like you've seen a lot of episodes where Lori and Lincoln continue to, learn together, and the fact that Lori is continuing to build character with like Lincoln. I mean, have you seen Schooled? Schooled was where Lori had the courage to go back to Sparrow University because of Lincoln's inspirational words. But this time around, she actually called Clyde, and I thought, like, okay, so I'm guessing you really did not help. You really did not need Lincoln's help after all of what Lincoln did for you, right? I'm like, what's going on here, Lori? Okay, so that's one part that kind of irked me. But at the same time, there's building character between Clyde and Lori. Like, okay, the whole creepiness of Clyde before. Remember the first 3 seasons where Clyde was very like persistent with Lori and just continuing to faint and lose blood and all that kind of stuff. Now that's over, and that kind of confirms it in this episode where Clyde actually gets the call first from Lori, and I thought that was actually a really good change of character. Like, okay, so whenever Clyde sees Lori, the whole perk of having a bloody nose and the fact that he faints, that's pretty much over now. So the fact that their chemistry of Lori and Clyde together was pretty much resolved, and the fact that they're growing up and that Clyde is continuing to mature and not be into Lori, just continuing to be friends with Lori is like something that I really thought was really great. The fact that Clyde and Lori are now like cool together instead of having Clyde continuing to faint and have a bloody nose. I mean, that whole funny bit that always happened in the first and second season, it's pretty much gone. And
you mean not funny?
I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it's not funny, but that's pretty much over now. So now you get to see Clyde and Lori pretty much work together now, and I thought that was really good chemistry, and that they're like having a good friendly relationship between each other instead of having them always continue to split up because Clyde continues to faint and have a bloody nose.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. Like, I'm so glad that Clyde has outgrown that phase because, that phase was like way too juvenile, like way too, like I said, it's way too unfunny, even like, but that's just my opinion. But needless to say, I'm glad that, Clyde has outgrown that phase where he has a crush, especially when he actually gets a date his own age, thankfully, like Chloe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. But look, Clyde is growing up. He's not going to be continuing to pursue Lori anymore. So just the fact that this pretty much resolves it in school pretty much tells me that he's growing up and all. And I do feel bad for Lincoln because, yeah, he pretty much got shoved in the back considering that Lori called Clyde first before, getting Lincoln's help or anything like that. And I thought that was weird.
Yeah, what's up? What was up with that, right?
I mean, I can't really say much. All right, but yeah, that was pretty much one part of the episode. Now, they were able to take care of that ghost, only to find out that the ghost was actually there to help the team out, meaning that Lori has to bring the ghost back. What were your thoughts on that part?
Again, like this is just me, but it sort of seemed out of place for a slice of life environment. Like, yes, it is a wacky cartoon, but it does still take place in a slice of life environment where supernatural stuff doesn't really happen. But maybe it's just me also, but I'm actually getting more of a Danny Phantom sort of vibes. This is always something that belongs more Danny Phantom than in a show like Loud House, in my opinion. But nonetheless, the road, like all these like the gags, the visual gags that do take part in the mission to capture the ghost was actually really quite entertaining, really colorful.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that I kind of so as an experienced golfer myself, we never have ghosts. Okay, this just never happens. This is just okay. I thought this whole thing was supposed to resolve a ghost that's pretty much haunting Fairway University, which they pretty much solved, and then they have to bring it back, and I'm like, well, why would you just do that? It'd rather just be like one 50-minute episode where they just have Clyde and Lincoln just fight that ghost. That could have been the whole episode, but they ended up having another episode where they have to bring the ghost back, and I'm like, the hell? That was just a weird twist there. I was like, okay, so we do need the ghost back. And the other thing too is like, do you really need a ghost to actually help you out? Maybe it's just karma. Maybe it's just like something that may have made your team bad, but you need to bring a ghost back. And this is kind of Lori just being like kind of out of character, saying like, I need to bring the ghost back. But it was just a weird twist in my end. I thought that was like not necessary. It could have been like a 15-minute episode for Ghosted if they could just like continue to just focus on Clyde Lincoln helping out Lori. But they decided to actually put another part in the episode. That's the reason why this is a special. Yeah,
I thought it could have been better myself, but overall, I thought it was fine. Like I said, like I would say that it's on the same scale as something like the Loudest Thanksgiving, where it's good but not great.
right. I would say, I mean, like, that was, like I said, it was just a weird, like, twist of plot when this comes to this episode. Anyways, let's move on. So with that in mind, Lori would have to bring Lucy's Mortician's Club to summon the ghost back. How'd you like that part of the episode?
I thought they were entertaining in this. Like, they were one of the highlights of the episode. Especially Boris, who has a passion for cheerleading for some reason. Now, some may argue it may seem pointless, but I thought they were the perfect people to call when a ghost comes. And yes, even more so than Lincoln and Clyde.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yes, people can argue in the comments, but honestly, I thought the Morticians were the best part of the episode.
Oh boy. I mean, I have to say the other way around. I was not okay with the Morticians Club. To be honest, like, I love Lincoln and Clyde helping out fight the ghosts, and then the Morticians Club to me was just not necessary because, yeah, I understand this is Lori's like little intuition where she needs help, but the Morticians Club was pretty much there, yeah, to summon the ghost back, but it really was just more of them just joking around in the whole Fairy University. Most of the stuff really didn't work, so I just felt like the Morticians Club really didn't do much, but at the same time, this more of Boris actually having a light heart and actually become a cheerleader, which I thought was really out of character for Boris. But look at him, he's now a cheerleader. And the other thing too is that we keep on seeing facts like, oh, maybe Haiku could be a good golfer. She really loves to be at Fairy University. I don't know. To me, it was just interesting. It was just not okay. It was okay-ish just to have the Morticians Club. I just felt they didn't necessarily need to be there. And like I said, I like it more of a 15-minute episode for Ghosted if they just continue to just keep on focus with Clyde and Lincoln. But to bring in the Morticians Club, it's more like kind of pointless to me. I mean, like, no disrespect for anybody who loves the Morticians Club and having them in the show, but in my opinion, it wasn't really necessary to me.
Okay, well, hey, to each their own, I guess, right? Opinions are opinions.
Yeah. I mean, like, we all have our own different opinions, but whatever. I mean, don't worry. It's another thing. All right. So with all the things Lori is doing that aren't working, she would decide to just confront the ghost by herself. How'd you like this part for Lori?
Well, I feel that it was really brave of Lori to do what she did, basically, because like, there are times where, especially in back when she was living with the Louds, like, she is the one who takes charge, who takes initiative. She does what she can to do the right thing, and I feel that, like, that sort of instinct does come into play in this particular moment where she deals with the ghost.
I have to say that this is like the best part in this episode. I mean, considering that I'm a huge time Lori fan, this is just more of Lori testing her independence instead of like having help from Clyde and Lincoln and having help from the Morticians Club. It is more for Lori to just continue to be that individual and have to face her own fears. And this is the part where I thought was like the best, considering that this is a path for Lori. This is for Lori to continue to become that individual, to not really rely on her family that much anymore. She's pretty much can do whatever she wants. She's now in college. So she can't really, get out there to get a lot of help from, her family anymore, or like her boyfriend possibly might help out. But I'm just saying that when it comes to her own personal, like, help, I would have to say that she needs to actually do it for her in her own case, to say. And I love the fact that, with this whole problem that she's been having with this ghost, to bring her back to eliminate that ghost and bring it back, and then the whole fact that she has to bring it back by herself. And I thought that was actually great. Just to see that Lori is just an absolutely great person, and to become that individual that people are going to grow up to be. Because when you grow up to go to college, you're pretty much an individual. You can just do whatever you want, while not really relying on home anymore. So I mean, this important part for Lori, I thought, was absolutely great to see.
Yeah, I would say so too. Yeah, take matters into their own hands.
Yeah. And I like I said, we've all been through this too. We went through college. We don't really rely on our parents that much anymore. So this is a good opportunity for Lori to not rely on her family or her parents as much anymore, and for her to become an individual when it comes to huge crisis stuff like this.
I agree. Yeah, the college, is learning independence pretty much. Not just learning courses, not just learning materials, not just learning math or English, but also learning independence.
Exactly. So props out for the writing crew to actually put that up. But what else do you want to bring up in Ghosted?
Nothing much that really comes to mind. One thing that really does kind of rub me off, this is a little weird, but how is Lynn Sr. really okay with driving Lincoln and Clyde all the way to Fairway? It doesn't even know that it's a long distance drive. And another thing is that it's just for a silly reason, oh, hey Dad, why don't you can you please drop me and my best friend off at a college where you literally had to drive, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours. We're gonna go catch a ghost, which for some reason, one way or another, exists in this real environment, this real world. And then Liz here is like, oh, okay, let me go grab my keys, and then we'll be on the way while you're hitting the road. Doo-doo-doo.
Well, I mean, it's a 2-hour something-ish drive to get over to Fairway University, but considering that it's an emergency, it makes sense for Lindsay to go all the way to Fairway University to see her oldest sibling. Which, I mean, for a father, you would do anything to go back to see your oldest sibling, right?
That's true. I guess they can make the argument. You can make the argument that it's just Lindsay just uses it as a way for him to see Lori again. Which, if that was the case, if that was the real reason, then honestly, I would definitely understand it. And honestly, it's something that I would just it would make me respect Lynn Sr.
Yeah. I got nothing much to say about this. Like I said, it's a really good Lori episode for me, so I got to put that up there. But what is your rating on this episode?
I'm going to say it's a 7 out of 10. There were some things that were kind of irked me, but for the most part, I did find it pretty enjoyable. The morticians were, funny as hell. They were entertaining. Boris, for some reason, as a cheerleader, who would have pictured that, right? And also, the ghost chase was pretty entertaining to watch as well. But there were some issues that I had with it that I just discussed, especially how it kind of diminished the bond of Lincoln and Lori, of how a ghost somehow appearing in a real slice of life environment was a thing. And also, I felt that the two story arcs were somehow, I don't know, they were somehow disconnected. I mean, the only thing that really connected was the ghost himself. That was it.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I have to say, I gotta give this an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, I understand the fact that the fact that Lincoln didn't get called for Lori instead of Lori calling Clyde instead. I thought that was actually a little bit mistrusting that the whole Lincoln and Lori little chemistry pretty much just got shut down in that whole part. But I do love the fact that the chemistry between Lori and Clyde are pretty much been resolved. No more bloody noses, no more fainting, which has always been an unfunny thing for the first and second season. I also do want to say, like I said, Mortician's Club was unnecessary. both me and Omi can have different opinions on this. But like I said, it's a really perfect Lori episode. Just the fact that it's more of Lori just continuing to grow up, try to be an individual instead of really relying on her family. So hopefully in the next Lori episode that we'll have, she will have like her own episode where she's just pretty much by herself with a lot of her college buddies. I would love to see an episode like that, and hopefully maybe more when it comes to the Loud House, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so besides that, that's pretty much it for our Loud House reviews. Let's head over to our Casagrandes reviews. Let's actually review the first episode that aired during that Halloween week. It's called Fails of the Crypt. The synopsis here is that the kids try to break a local record for staying in the cemetery overnight. So this episode turns out to be a skill of bravery for each member of Ronnie Ann's squad. Turns out each of them couldn't even last long. What are your thoughts on Ronnie Ann's friend's test of bravery here?
Okay, now this is what I call a damn good Halloween themed episode. Like, oh my God, honestly, I would say, like, you know, out of the episodes that we're going to discuss today, Fails from the Crypt is easily the best one. Easily the best. I just loved it. I loved the chemistry between Ronnie Ann and her squad. The bond growing even stronger. And I also love the dark, creepy atmosphere of the cemetery that they're in. Like, they make it spooky, they make it dark, they make it horrifying. You just feel like you're in a cemetery with them. Like, the atmosphere, it fits perfectly to a horror themed episode like this.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, you know, this is just more of a test and challenge between, you know, Ronnie and her squad, and of course the fact that they failed, but you already know what's leading up to. But just the whole concept of, you know, them testing their bravery when it comes to a challenge, like surviving in a a cemetery for overnight. You know, it's something that you know, people could actually try to do, especially during Halloween. You know.
I agree.
Don't you want to try that now?
I want to go to a cemetery during Halloween someday. Like, it's like, honestly,
try to have like a good nerves like Lucy Loud, who loves to go to cemeteries overnight.
we could even stay over in the cemetery. We could camp out in a cemetery. Like,
maybe. I mean, if cemeteries could ever open for us.
Yeah.
All right, so they wanted to break a record that was set by a group called the Fearless Four, who happens to be Rosa, Hector, Sergio, and Vito. Did you see that coming?
Honestly, it's one that I actually didn't. Like, honestly, of course, Rosa and Hector being overprotective of Ronnie Ann, it's sort of nothing new. We've actually seen this done before, especially the Spies Who Loved Me. So honestly, even taking that out of the equation, I still bought that Rosa and Hector were scared for Ronnie Ann's life because, well, they are, you know, Rosa and Hector, they're overprotective of Ronnie Ann and stuff like that. But oh my God, just the fact that the monsters actually ended up being Rosa, Hector, Vito, and Sergio in disguise, and it turns out they were actually doing it for their own reasons, like being overprotective and stuff like that. They were trying to keep their own record, and I was just thinking to myself, man, like, you know, the stuff that they create, like the strategies, the timing, like, oh my God, like they pull them off really well, and they pull off these costumes so convincingly. It's sort of like a little war amongst the family, like a civil war amongst the family, which does involve Maria and Carlos joining alongside Ronnie Ann and her squad to get back at the four, which we're going to get into right now.
Yeah, I did not see this.
Maria and Carlos's sibling banter. I just love it.
So I actually didn't know about this whole Fearless Four. I mean, the fact that Ronnie Ann continued to address the fact that they were going to beat a challenge from this quote Fearless Four. And we were thinking like, okay, Fearless Four. So it could be a legendary group that could be, you know, passed away in that cemetery. But we noticed that it's actually going to be those four. That was really surprising to me. I didn't actually expect to actually see those characters become that fabulous. I mean, it's that Fearless Four. So yeah, really was surprising, and it's kind of saying like, yeah, you kind of are using characters just to help them prove a point that, hey, this is a challenge that we can't beat, or something like that. I mean, it was surprising. I didn't expect it, but yeah, to say the least. But eventually, Ronnie Ann and her squad would find out about the Fearless Four's tricks to keeping their record. So they brought Maria and Carlos to help scare the Fearless Four. How'd you like this whole sequence of, Maria and Carlos helping out Ronnie Ann's squad and trying to scare that Fearless Four?
Oh my god, like it's just one plot twist after another. Except this one is an even bigger plot twist. We actually didn't see that coming. I just thought, oh my god, it is so genius of Ronnie Ann and Maria to pretty much come together and try to get back at the four for what they did. And they pretty much do it in a way where they pretend to be scared, like they pretend to be running, but it turns out that it was them playing the trick against them the whole time. I was just like, you are a genius. Genius. Oh my god, that was just something that it took me by surprise, and it's another reason why I love this episode. It's so unpredictable with all these plot twists. You don't really see it coming. It sort of unravels. The plot unravels, and it's just really, it makes it more engaging, more interesting to see.
I have to say that the fact that they brought in Maria and Carlos, well, the other thing too is that they also wanted to try that Fearless Four challenge but failed. And it was just really cool just to see how everything was like all set up to build. It's like, oh, you're trying to scare that Fearless Four, or Rosa and Hector and Vito and Sergio, trying to scare those Fearless Four, and it kind of worked. The fact that they got scared and they got their own, that Maria and Carlos were able to at least scare that Fearless Four too, which I thought was absolutely amazing. But the fact that they build it up until that part where they reveal it, it's like, okay, now you're scaring that Fearless Four. I'm like, what's going on here? And then you can totally see the squad laugh, and you can totally, and then the fact that Maria and Carlos are a part of this, and I thought it was actually smart to have those guys come in to help out Ronnie Ann's squad. The other thing too, I also want to point out is, where's Maria and Carlos? We never see their sibling chemistry, and I like the fact in this episode they continue to fight. They're like brother and sister. They continue to fight each other. Right. I thought that was absolutely like hilarious. Why don't we have more of those? Like, I would love to see more of those sibling chemistries.
I want to see more episodes where they have that, including a episode mainly featuring Maria and Carlos. That'd be interesting to see.
Right. I mean, if you were going to pull off a Carl and Adelaide episode, you could put like another Casagrande episode of Maria and Carlos, man. I mean, anything could happen with the Casagrandes. If you're going to pull off episodes where it's just like some secondary characters, you could totally do something with the Casagrandes,
Yeah, that's true.
Anything else you want to pull off? Anything else you want to talk about in this episode?
Nothing that comes to mind, honestly. It's just, I love this episode. I love the dark atmosphere, the spooky colors, the twists, the surprises we don't see coming. It's just, this is honestly one of the best horror themed episodes of the Loud Casaverse. It's that great.
Yeah, I have to say, this is just a really good build-up episode for Halloween, and I thought that was just absolutely great. So what's your rating on this episode?
Definitely a 9 out of 10. Like I said, it's just such a good time. It's such a great episode to watch, especially on Halloween. And just especially by just the atmosphere and just the scenery of the cemetery alone, and Ronnie Ann and her squad camping in it. Like, it is just, oh my god, it's a sight to behold.
I have to give this an 9 out of 10 too. A really good setup for a Halloween episode. Nothing much to say here. I just think that it was just great to have the squad continue to scare this Fearless Four. This whole setup for a 15-minute episode was pretty quick, but they got pretty much straight to the points of this episode. I thought it was absolutely amazing.
Right, sure. All right.
So let's move on to our next episode. Oops, I totally forgot to change this. Oops. All right, so let's move on to our next episode called Bad Cluck, the second part of the Casagrandes new episode here. Synopsis for this episode: a haunted chicken is pestering the Casagrandes. It's pretty much the synopsis of this episode. All right, so from the beginning, the Casagrandes has a bad spirit that's haunting them, and they brought guests to help take the spirit away. From Mr. Nakamura's beans to Mr. Chang's fireworks and Arturo's appetite to no avail. How did you like this whole part in this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good time. Like honestly, it may not be as strong as the episode we just talked about before, but this is still a good episode to watch whenever you're in a good mood to binge Casagrandes horror themed episodes. Honestly, one thing that kind of bothered me though was Rose is supposed to be, I don't know, fighting evil spirits or something. I mean, what gives?
I really thought like, okay, so I would imagine this would be another Halloween episode where spirits pretty much haunting the Casagrandes. But holy crap! I mean, I didn't expect the Casagrandes like being all getting haunted for just one chicken, you know. So obviously they need to get everything fixed. But to be honest, I would imagine like I didn't expect the neighbors to actually come help out. But then again, it's more of Hector continuing to yeah, I don't know. It's just get Hector to continue to text and everybody. Well, they could have just had Maria, you know, solve the problem there because you know she has her spirits and things like that. I want to point out this. Why wasn't Rosa helping out and taking out this evil spirit?
I don't know, because the plot told her not to.
The plot? What? What? I don't know. It was weird because I thought Maria could be good with it. Just the fact that the spirits and Maria knowing all about curses and things like that. Why didn't they bring her help? Maybe. Well, I talked about this back in Seren's podcast. It was more towards like neighbor, like, you know, this is Hector's problem because Hector pretty much texted everybody. So it's like Maria, like, sorry, Rosa pretty much saying, hey, I rather just have you handle the situation, not let me do anything about this. So yeah, Rosa did nothing, and I was just weirded out about it. I guess you got nothing much there.
No, it was just weird.
Yeah, so pretty much this episode was weird. Okay, great. So it turned out that the evil spirit was going after Sergio for revenge, and after what Sergio has done to that chicken, made sense for the spirit to haunt Sergio and his family. So was that a side of Sergio I didn't expect? And what are your views of Sergio after this sequence?
Oh my god. Sergio, honestly, like Sergio, when will you stop being Sergio? When will you stop being You're such a douche, Sergio. I mean, what did that chicken ever do to you, man? I mean, for God's sake, what did the chicken ever do to you? He didn't do nothing to you, man. And then, like, everything that happened was because of Sergio, like, being such a douchebag parent to the chicken. It's just, it's sort of mind-boggling, but it's kind of funny at the same time because, you know, it's Sergio. You know, it's Sergio. What do you expect? You don't expect any better from the troll parrot himself.
No, I did not expect him to kill a chicken, you know?
No, but like he did it in sort of a you know, jokingly manner, according to him, like sort of a little jab in between friends. But even then, like Sergio, honestly, like there's a fine line where you go in terms of taking jabs on your friends, dude. You don't do that by, you know, killing your chicken friend. What's wrong with you?
No, to be honest, that whole sequence where, you know, he's having revenge on Sergio, it makes sense because all the things that he did was absolutely douchebaggy. Like, oh, he pooped on his car. Oh, he ruined his birthday party. He even brought him to the hospital and stole his sunglasses. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Like, honestly, Sergio is pretty much the most toxic friend that you'll ever have. Like, Sergio is like that one toxic friend that you just want to stay away from.
Bro, he's a murderer. I mean, come on, he just killed a chicken, and I can't really look. So my point here is that the whole thing about this episode just really changes my view on Sergio. I'm like, you totally are a douche. I thought you were a cool parrot, just, you know, hanging out with the Casagrandes and all, but we know your past now, and apparently your past is absolutely terrible. Like, okay, you absolutely ruined a chicken's life, and it makes sense for a chicken to freaking, like, you know, get revenge on the Casagrandes in this case.
Yeah, honestly, I don't blame the chicken. In fact, I'm actually on the chicken side of this because, dude, like you're a toxic friend and you're also a murderer, like you just pointed out. Like honestly, if this episode has taught you anything, it's that toxic friends away from your life as possible because chances are it will cost you your life.
I mean, I just was absolutely weirded out about this whole sequence. I mean, like the first part, okay, he was haunting pretty much the Casagrandes. Then the second part, oh, we now know why. Because Sergio's a douchebag. I did not expect this, Sergio being so bad. But again, we're changing characters here. I thought Sergio would be a cool parent. No, it's not. Now every episode coming up for the Casagrandes makes me feel like, okay, I don't know if I really want to focus on Sergio anymore because he's a murderer. It's really strange.
You can't really expect more from Sergio. Like honestly, like Sergio is one of those characters where honestly, nothing really surprises you anymore when you find out what Sergio did past or present. Like he's one of those characters.
Right. Okay, so I do want to talk to you about this last part of this episode because eventually the spirit will stop haunting the Casagrandes, and all he wanted was his sunglasses. So, what were your thoughts on that part?
Yeah. What can I say? Like, it's pretty much when you look into the realm of the LoudCasa verse, it sort of makes sense that they have this like silly this how do I put it? Silly motivation for doing what you do, like including pair of sunglasses apparently from your ex-friend. It's really weird, but at the same time it's a funny kind of weird. Like I ended up laughing at the flashbacks of Sergio and the chicken, and also the fact that the chicken just wants his sunglasses, and then Sergio was sort of hesitant, but then the consequently of like, Sergio, for God's sake, apologize and give him the sunglasses already. He's scaring us, he's haunting us, man.
I really didn't know how to react to that because it really was just sunglasses that would fix the problem. I thought it was more like if Sergio died, then that would have actually, gave some peace to the chicken. But instead, it's sunglasses. But I understand that why they didn't want to like kill off Sergio just because it's a kids thing and they really want more Sergio in this case. But I don't think that's a good way to resolve a situation by sunglasses. To be in my case, come on, really? You're just going to be like rocking sunglasses and pretty much leave? That's how the ending was supposed to be about?
All because of sunglasses.
Yeah, I was like, what the freak is that? I can't really say much about it. It was just like, this is a way to resolve an episode. I thought that was just like, okay, you're just pretty much, you only have 30 seconds left of an episode. You might as well just put something to just get away the spirit. And apparently sunglasses was the case. And I was like, not really a good way to end this episode. Maybe if you were going to kill Sergio, that would have been that would have been like a better plot. But I understand why you wouldn't do that, considering it's a kid's show. So, I mean, like the way that Sergio is, I would not be surprised if the chicken actually wanted to kill Sergio. But
and I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him for that.
Right. But you need Sergio for the Casagrandes, obviously. So yeah. Anyways, what else do you want to say from this episode?
Nothing much I can say, honestly.
I hate was not a good episode out of this block to say. So I want to
like Ghosted. It was a good but not great episode.
Okay, so what was your rating then on this episode?
7 out of 10. Just like Ghosted, it was a good but not great episode. I will give it that the gags were thoroughly entertaining, especially with the flashbacks. But then there were like a few parts that could have went a better direction. But that's just me though. Sergio, you just cannot stop being Sergio, can you? Like honestly. But for real though, like I said, out of the 3 episodes, the one that I would definitely watch over and over again is Fails from the Crypt. Like honestly, that is the only legitimately great episode of the 3.
I would have to give this like, okay, I gotta give it a low rating to be honest. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's really not that good episode. I mean, like the whole haunting part was absolutely like intriguing for one thing, but then like it pretty much fell downhill from there. Like giving everybody help out to solve the problem, and a lot of other things, especially the fact that we know that Sergio's a murderer and a chicken is out for revenge, and apparently the chicken just wanted sunglasses to get to pretty much stop the whole haunting of the Casagrandes. And I thought that was just like a really easy way out of an episode. I don't think it was actually written well. I thought it was like, I get it, this is for a Halloween special, but not really scary in my books to say. Yeah.
Nothing much we can say, right?
It's a bad episode. Let's just put it there. All right, so that's it for episode reviews. We will be making a brand new episode of the Loud Casa Talks next week. We will be reviewing the rest of the episodes, Blinded by Science, was it Band Together, was it Dial M for Murder, and What's Love Got to Do with It? So get ready to see that next week. But let's head over to our main subject right now. Actually, oh shit. I hate when I do this. Sorry, fold up. Here we go. All right. So our main subject of today, in our third part of our mini series about the Loud House and the Casagrandes fandom, we want to take a closer look of a part of the fandom where there are those that quote unquote act like fans, but continue to judge every little aspect of the show like it's supposed to be like, a perfect cartoon like Gravity Falls or Star Wars Force of Evil or Steven Universe, etc., etc., etc. We really don't call them fans to say if they don't love the show with a passion like, me and Omid, especially if you're one of those that love to make terrible comments about those shows. And these fans continue to rant on how bad the shows are from time to time, like things like this season sucks or this starts the downfall of the Loud House. The list goes on and on. Omid, when you get to see these comments, what do you do to deal with these kind of comments?
Honestly, it really depends, like how far they really take it. If I see comments that are like this, that like once in a blue moon sort of deals, I just ignore them because they're not really worth my time. But if it's those people that consistently, and I mean consistently, do this kind of crap, like nitpick, and diss the show, complain about certain aspects of the show, it just gets really tiresome, and it gets up to a point where I have to, say my part, do my part, and just, tell them to just stop it. It's not helping anyone. Honestly, like, if you have a problem with these shows, if you're hating all these shows, what are you doing here? Honestly, why are you in the fan page or fan club of the Loud House in the first place?
Exactly. And I don't understand why a lot of people love to go on like social media and continue to just say a lot of bad stuff. Like, we run a fan page of the Loud House and we keep on putting up our reviews and things like that, but we always keep on giving up with comments and things that are absolutely like disgraceful and, just makes me think like, you're not really a true fan at all. Why are you continuing to comment badly on our episodes and things like that? Why do you continue downgrading our show like that? So what does that make you, a fan? I don't think so. You're pretty much just dissing out on like what the show is all about. I mean, like, we love the show in compassion. We love the show like it's a job, to say the least. But I mean, with all the comments sometimes we get, especially when you're a person that continues to like rant on our show or episode, like things like that, it's like, what is your real purpose? You really want to actually just take away the show or something like that? It's really not cool, for one thing, but there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's sort of like I think it's those people that go undercover as fans, but then they reveal their true colors later on, and it's like it makes you want to keep an eye out, like keep a close eye out for those fans. You know what I mean?
And I mean, look, there could be some episodes where we will all agree like it's a bad episode. I mean, look at like No Such Luck, for example. I mean, we were not going to go through that discussion again, but I'm just saying, like, when that whole episode came in, there was just way too much talk about it. Like, okay, look, it was just one bad episode. Why are we going to say like this is totally terrible? This is going to be bad for the show. This is going to be blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is just one episode. You just continue on with the show, guys. Look, there's a lot more better episodes than one bad episode. Look, you'll only have one bad scene. You can't just immediately say that's a bad season,
Yeah, exactly. Like, honestly, just saying that one or two bad episodes. Well, when you do think about it logically, let's say you got two bad episodes out of like 20 episodes of a season. That's really like 1 out of 10. That's 1/10. So you're saying that 1/10 of a fraction of bad episodes makes an entire season bad? Does it really spoil a season overall? No, it doesn't.
Exactly. So let's move on and let's actually talk about some certain points. Now, I've been looking through all our Facebook, throughout our Twitters, throughout pretty much everything, and we pretty much looked at like 5 or 6 of the most common things that we could be taught that are pretty much talked about when it comes to the Loud House and the Casagrandes. So let's actually go through these comments. All right. So first things first, one of them that I kind of got offended with the Casagrandes do not deserve a spinoff. Look, it could be up and down on this, but Omid, what are your thoughts on this comment here?
Wrong! It worked as a spin-off because it captured the heart, it captured the comedy, it captured the inclusion, it captured everything of its parent show while having its own elements that make it distinct from its parent show.
I have to say, like, we were kind of in a toss-up. I mean, like, when we knew that the Casagrandes are going to head over to Great Lake City, I immediately, like, said something that we should have a spin-off show for the Casagrandes, and lo and behold, lo and behold, we have it. And to be honest, the spinoff is turning out to be a great success. I actually love the show. I love the whole the viewpoint of the Casagrandes, in a family, in a Mexican culture family where you get to see a lot of Mexican culture. Let's get us to learn a lot of stuff about the Casagrandes and all that kind of stuff. And, I thought that was absolutely like great to have. I thought this was a great little spinoff, but I don't understand why people continue to say they wanted to just diss on the Casagrandes, not having a spinoff. What's wrong with it? Like it kind of made sense for Nickelodeon to move through for the Casagrandes to have a spinoff. I mean, like, to expand more on the story. I mean, we're not going to see Ronnie Ann anymore in the Loud House, but as long as we continue to see how Ronnie Ann and Bobby are going to be, because Bobby's going to be a big link to Lori, considering that both families are, Bobby and Lori are together and all that kind of stuff. There has to be some sort of like plot story where we have to actually talk about the Casagrandes. And lo and behold, we do have a spinoff like this.
Yeah, seriously. I think it's the fact that, like, they have this phobia of spinoffs in general because, well, let's face it, there are some bad spinoff shows out there, Planet Sheen, Cleveland Show, and all that stuff. Told Drama Rama, and I think the fact that those spinoffs exist kind of ruined the idea of spinoffs in general, according to some people. While I do hate all these spinoff shows, they don't quite ruin the idea of spinoffs for me. They just sort of spoil it in a sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they sort of give spinoffs a bad name, but I don't think they ruin the idea of spinoffs in general, because there are some actually great spinoff series in general that I really do love, like Casagrandes I mentioned, and also Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is one of my favorite shows ever. Like, Breaking Bad maybe better than Better Call Saul, but I still love Better Call Saul nonetheless because it captured every element that made Breaking Bad so great. Same with Casagrandes to Loud House.
Yeah. I gotta say, I got me to say much about this, but I'm like saying, like, there was going to be a path for Ronnie Ann and Bobby. Just the fact that, Bobby was going to have a different story, even if he's going to be moving away. And there's a lot of things to talk about. The other thing too is that the Casagrandes is doing very successfully. They're having 2 seasons. They're having 2 more seasons coming up. So for those who continue to say they don't deserve a spinoff, they're having 3 seasons now. So you can't say much about it. You can't cancel the show anymore.
Yeah, you got to deal with it. Just deal with it and deal with it and leave the internet, because if you're somehow allergic to different opinions that differ from yours, then honestly, maybe you should just get off the internet, like, I don't know, for good.
I don't know if they will, but I'm just saying, like, don't diss on the Casagrandes if you're like, don't watch the show or anything like that. You can't just say it doesn't deserve a spinoff. Watch the show yourself so that you can get your viewpoint on what the Casagrandes are. You probably will like it. You can't just like immediately say that, that doesn't deserve a spinoff. I really hate those kind of comments, but people continue to do it every time. And I'm like, guys, shut up.
Yeah, they just want to ruin the fun for everyone. And those people. This
is what I'm talking about. These quote unquote fans. This is what I'm talking about. These quote unquote fans that don't support the Casagrandes. And I'm like, dude, this is gonna be part of the Loud House Casagrande universe. You got to deal with it. You're going to be looking at more Casagrandes episodes in the future. You can't do much about it.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so I want to pull up another comment that I keep seeing a lot too. The Loud House went downhill after season 2. What are your thoughts on this comment here?
Wrong. It has in fact went uphill for more. It has in fact went uphill with more sister episodes, less Lincoln-centered episodes, and you got more heart, more character development, more characters, more everything. Like you got a wide variety of a cast of characters, and each sister with their own set of friends.
I will have to agree with that too. I thought that season 2, look, in my personal opinion, season 2 was not the best season in my opinion. Season 3, 4, 5 are absolutely like beyond tier. Like season 3, I think was the best season, considering that we are now focused more on the sisters. And to be honest, the sisters are part of the Loud House, aka this is the quote Loud House. So it can't just be all about Lincoln. You need to more obviously focus more on the sisters as well. Like you'll have Luna episodes, Lori episodes, Lenny episodes. And that makes it a mixed bag of like diversity and so much more potential in story to say. So I really thought that when they made the switch in season 3 to talk more about the sisters, that opened up like a big bag of like so much possibilities and so much stories that can happen in this show. So I don't know who we keep on saying that the show went downhill after season 2, but no, I have to say season 3, 4, and 5 at the moment are absolutely doing great. You know,
if anything, it went uphill. I mean, it opened up new possibilities for, every character. I mean, seriously, this is called the Loud House, not the Lincoln House.
Exactly. Like it's not. Look, we can't really focus on a show that could just make it for one character. I mean, yeah, this is the Loud House. We want to make sure that everybody gets focused on the on the show. That's the reason why they've changed that whole setup for having like Lincoln have his own episodes and having Lori have her own episodes, etc., and things like that. And that's the reason why we have so many good like stories coming into every season now. Like Lori now going to college, Lincoln going to middle school, Lily now growing up and becoming a preschooler. Hence the reason why Schooled was absolutely an amazing thing to watch, considering that they're all growing up and there's different paths for this season to go through. That's what I think was great. I don't know why people continue to say that it went downhill after season 2, but that comment really is irrelevant. Yeah. All right. So that we pretty much said our part there. Let's move on to another comment here. Things would have been better if the creator, quote unquote, the creator was still around working for the show. Your thoughts on this one?
Wrong. the show got even better after he got rightfully fired for his crimes. Also, please stop defending sexual predators. It makes you look bad too.
Exactly. Stop talking about Mr. Creator. We're not gonna talk about his name, obviously, because he's pretty much not existent. But after his firing and all what he was going to do, the show got way better, I would say, after he left. I mean, what were going to be your opinions if he continued to go on? Would there be more Lincoln Loud episodes? Will there not be more focus on the family episodes? I was feeling like if Mr. Creator was continuing to focus on the show, I would imagine it will not have a lot of sister episodes. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, like you're going to refer to Mr. Creator. I'm going to refer to him as some other dude. For a reason. You know why, Nate. You know why. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you watching, you probably know why I'm referring him to some other dude. Nate, you know.
Yes,
now,
we know.
Now, here's the thing. Now, some other dude said himself that he would actually make episodes revolving around Lincoln's sisters as well. That he would add in more inclusion to it, which is why you see some inclusion even in season 1 with Clyde McBride's parents. So honestly, I think that the Loud House would have gone down that route had some other dude, if some other dude was still working in the Loud House, which thank God he isn't anymore. But I feel that after he left, I feel that the show got even better, like without him.
Yeah, I feel like if it was under his leadership still, it would just be a show that would probably not have six seasons. That's what's happening right now, and we probably would not have that spinoff. To say the least, when he left, I think it really did go for the better that he left. You know, well,
Yeah,
the fact that the work environment is going to be a whole lot less awkward with him not around. You know.
yeah, and it'll be much more safer for female employees, the female staff. So honestly, booting out some other dude really helped the work environment, and it helped the animation industry thrive. It helped grow.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see now that we have a lot more staffers. We get to see a lot of staffers come and go. These are brand new writers and brand new artists that are working on the Loud House right now, but they do have that mindset of making episodes for the Loud House. So they are in a brand new environment, and they are I think they're absolutely thrilled to work with with new seasons of the Loud House. So yeah, I would say this is a great thing to not have the creator come around here. All right, let's move on to another subject here. One bad episode is the beginning of the Loud House's downfall. And look, there's a lot of bad episodes out there. There's No Such Luck. There's Ruthless People. There's was it Kings of the Con? Look, there's a lot of bad episodes. I understand that.
Blinded by Science. Oh, blinded by Science.
Okay, but we'll bring that there then. Dude, one bad episode does not mean the end of the show. Don't you agree, Omid?
Yes, and to all those people who say that one bad episode is the beginning of the Loud House's downfall, I got one particular thing to say to you. Wrong! Also, 2 out of 3 episodes are not the bad episodes. You must be kidding yourselves. I mean, really, come on. And also, by your logic, episodes like You're Ed Here, and Everyone Knows It's Bendy are the downfalls of Ed, Ed and Eddie and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, where actually, in reality, it's actually quite the opposite, that those 2 shows are becoming just as good, like, despite their own share of bad episodes. Same thing with the Loud House. Like, honestly, not every episode is going to be 10 out of 10. Not every episode is going to be good, but despite that, it shows how the good episodes, like, for every one bad episode, there's 20 or even 30 good episodes. That shows you how good of a show it is overall. So as long as the good outweighs the bad, it's still good.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we review a lot of episodes of the Loud House and the Casagrandes, and to say the least, the Loud House outweighs the good episodes considering the bad. I mean, when we review these episodes, we considered most of those to be really good. I mean, we could have one bad episode here and there. I mean, Brawl in the Family, No Such Luck. We already have shared our opinions on that. We know that they're bad. It doesn't mean that this ruins a show. It's just one episode. Plus, this is a kid's show. Like I said, these are not really putting up a lot of plot, but there are some things that could bring plot up to the show. I mean, if you want to try to make it less perfect, like Gravity Falls or The Owl House or Amphibia, for example, why don't you just look at their scripts and understand that this is the Loud House. This is their own way of doing it. And to say the least, this is more of a comedy show, slice of life show, instead of an adventure show like The Owl House and Steven Universe and Amphibia and all that stuff. I mean, look, everybody's gonna have a bad episode. I understand that, but look, it doesn't make it a big deal. Like, okay, if you remember all the talk about Kings of the Con, like it was all a bad episode and things like that. I said in a different aspect in my part that it was actually good considering it's a convention thing. It's just more of me going to conventions and things like that. And while the other people just continue to outweigh with saying that this is just bad for the look of Lincoln and Clyde, which is true, but it's just, you can't just say like this is going to start the downfall of a show, of a season, or of a show, for example. I just don't understand that. Look, one bad episode doesn't mean it's one bad season is not going to ruin the barrel or things like that. It's really illogical. It's really illogical. Like the way people kind of think that, oh my God, this is terrible. I hate the episode. I hate this show now. Yeah, I can't really say much there.
Good.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to one more comment that I keep seeing here. Loud House and the Casagrandes do not deserve new seasons, unlike other Nick shows. Oh, what do you say about this?
Okay. Wrong. What are you even doing here? Commenting on shows that you don't like. Do you have time to waste? Like, honestly, like, do you just you just hate time that much that you just want to throw it in the garbage? What are you even doing here? If you don't like something, don't watch it. Don't talk about it. Move on to something else you do like.
Exactly. And I don't understand why people continue to like rant on a show. Like, to say the least, if you don't like the show and say things like you do not deserve a second season, then move on to a different show. If you say something like Nickelodeon is my only show, my only network of me watching like cartoons, and the Loud House and Casagrandes are not good, then watch a different thing in Nickelodeon. Maybe watch It's Pony. Maybe watch SpongeBob if you're being a huge SpongeBob fan. I mean,
Like still,
look, this show is going to be good, and I have a person who actually talks about this right now. The people who absolutely are annoying right now are the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans. Those guys continue to freaking talk shit on Twitter and Facebook, saying like they deserve the Rise of TMNT deserve more seasons than the Loud House and the Casagrandes, and I'm like, dude, that's don't know what happened there. I'm not a Rise of the TMNT fan, but I didn't know that they really did screw over Nickelodeon. Really did screw over the Rise of TMNT. But don't take that on the Loud House of the Casagrandes. Take that on Nickelodeon. That's them being stupid. Not the Loud House of the Casagrandes. Why would you continue to bring in comments like this? This is just look. They deserve it. They have their own fan base. Their fan base is absolutely great. That's the reason why that they're getting more seasons, because there's a lot of good positive reaction from this. I feel bad for the Rise of the TMNT fans, but I'm just saying, don't tease on the Loud House and Casagrandes here.
yeah, I agree. Seriously, like just because you like something, just because you like one show doesn't give you the right to diss another.
Exactly. Like, don't watch it. Like, instead, don't watch it if you're gonna keep on complaining about this show. Just continue to say, you know, I mean, if you hate the show, then get out of here. Like, you don't really need to actually continue watching Loud House and Casagrandes if you continue to hate the show. So why are you just going to continue to bother fans who love the show and continue to make them feel sad with comments like this? You know?
I don't know, like maybe it's because like they have bad days, so they want to make sure other people have bad days. But it's just no excuse, really. Honestly, it's they just want to spoil the fun for everyone else, and it's like, okay, that's just kind of that's kind of the equivalent of cyberbullying at that point.
Exactly. And we're going to actually talk about this whole cyberbullying aspect too. But I do want to talk about two little communities that I actually did want to bring up here. This is the end of our comments. We actually see these comments a whole lot, but I do want to bring up YouTube reviewers, because there's certain YouTube reviewers that get a lot of fans, but in the wrong way. I want to talk about two YouTube reviewers that I thought were having a lot of fans who were into the Loud House, but when I looked at the reviews, no, they really hated the Loud House and the Casagrandes. And the first person I want to bring up is Mr. Enter. Mr. Enter, he is really a critical person to say. When I looked at all the reviews when he talked about the Loud House and the Casagrandes, I'm like, okay, you really hate it, but you don't want to go through that level where you actually compare the Casagrandes as the Cleveland show, for example. And I'm like, this is a totally different spinoff compared to Cleveland show. But there's a lot more things that comes in with Mr. Enter. I mean, me and you watch Mr. Enter videos. How do you feel about this dude?
Woo, boy. I got a lot to say about this individual. Okay, now my thoughts. I used to be a fan of him for a long time. He was one of my favorite cartoon reviewers on the internet. But oh boy, all that changes in 2020, let me tell you. And no, it's not because he gave bad reviews of the Loud House and the Casagrandes. Like, going to the Loud House and the Casagrandes, he did have some good points on the Loud House, but there were a lot of things he missed in that review. But the Casagrandes review, on the other hand, oh my god, it was a total disaster. Like, honestly, I would debate, like, it's his worst video he has ever done. Well, I mean, just when discussing about cartoons, of course, right? But just the fact that, like, he would compare the Casagrandes to Cleveland show of all shows just because it's a spin-off show, really? Oh, and also the bit with him playing the Casagrandes opening sequence, but then replacing it with the Cleveland show song. dude, not funny at all. And it's also the fact that he was being really, really nitpicky on these types of on these shows. Like, not just that, he was picky on like the Nickelramas, the shows as well, like Nickelodeon shows, where yeah, honestly, it got, you know, it's gotten to a point where Mr. Enter has gone much more bitter more than ever before. But let me tell you, okay, this is not what made me quit Mr. Enter. What made me quit Mr. Enter was, you know, much worse reasons. When he said that Black Lives Matter protests are bad, when he said that he's against face masks because of reasonable doubt, when he said, do not ping me ever, to a fan who told him that he loved his work. And also, worst of all, when he said that, I'm not even kidding, that healthcare is not a human right. So honestly, it's gone up to a point where Mr. Enter ended up being such a total piece of shit. I kid you not. Excuse my profanity, but honestly, just it's gone up to a point where I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, like just by him doing that, honestly, it just made me like lose all respect for Mr. Enter. And honestly, if he's gonna hold on to like these mindsets, these objectively wrong mindsets that go against like human rights, then honestly, this is not the kind of person that I ever want to support anymore. Because like the stuff that he says, like they're actually dangerous information. Like the fact that he's against Black Lives Matter, wearing a mask, and healthcare, like honestly, it's honestly someone that I do not want to associate with. And honestly, just by that alone, I'm just glad that I'm just done with Mr. Enter forever. So honestly, yes, while his Loud House and Casagrandes reviews did rub me off the wrong way, I still did remain a fan of him. It didn't make me want to quit Mr. Enter, but like just some of the worst stuff that he has done when discussing serious subjects really did make me just, you know, wipe my hands clean of him.
Although when I looked at Mr. Enter and all the first thing that I also see, because I know the history of Mr. Enter, and he really had a weird vibe to me, like the way that he reviews Loud House. From the video I saw from that, I mean, you can totally see a lot of people in those comments on YouTube agree with him. And I'm like, okay, these are not fans at all. All you're trying to do is try to throw a lot of toxicity to your fan base, saying things like, this is a bad show. This is like the Casagrandes is a spinoff of the Cleveland show, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not what it is. If you that's the thing that kind of really irks me, is like, if you're going to spew a lot of profanity and spew a lot of things that are not true and bring it to your viewership, that's not really being an inspiration or anything. It's more like you really do hate the show. So why continue to diss on it? I mean, if you hate the show, just hate on it. You don't need to actually just go on your YouTube channel and just continue to complain and things like that. I mean, Mr. Enter, yeah, you're right. He is a douchebag, and I really have not been a supporter of him ever since I saw those videos. I have really, I don't know. I really am not a supporter of him, but there's still a lot of those supporters out there that still follow him, and those are people that you really don't want to hang out with if I were you.
Yeah, honestly, like people like that, like the people who just get worse and worse, you know, get more bitter, get more douchebaggery. It's just you just want to stay away from them, like as far away from them as possible. But honestly, to be fair, I don't think he hates the Loud House, but he still somehow has a grudge against Ronnie Ann, despite the fact that Ronnie Ann has developed into such a great character.
I don't understand that. Like, what? Are people complaining about her being a Mary Sue, a quote unquote Mary Sue, which she isn't?
No, it's more along the lines that Mr. Enter still thinks that, you know, Ronnie Ann is still a bully who is mean to Lincoln.
Oh my god!
He hates the trope that, like, because a girl is mean to a boy, that means she likes him. I mean, I see where he's going with this, and that trope can, you know, it can only go so far. It can end up going in the wrong direction. But for me personally, I felt that like after Save the Date, like he did say that. One thing I will agree with him on is that, honestly, just like Mr. Enter, I didn't like Save the Date that much. I just found way too many problems with that episode. But honestly, aside from that, I feel that what he said about Ronnie and like it's just so it just shows how he doesn't watch enough Loud House, or maybe he doesn't even pay attention to the Loud House. Didn't pay enough attention to Ronnie Anne's character to show how much she has grown, how much how much Ronnie Anne, what were Ronnie Anne's personal struggles, like she had to take care of her mother and her brother who are busy of work, for God's sake. So honestly, does that make it a bad girl to you, Mr. Enter? Does that make it a bad character to you, Mr. Enter? Really? Like, honestly, like, I like to see you helping out your own parents someday.
Exactly. I don't know. I mean, he just really rubbed me the wrong way. But knowing that you were a fan of Mr. Enter, I just kind of felt like when I was going to talk to you about things that he reviewed with the Loud House and stuff like that, I just made it feel, I just felt a little awkward just speaking it to you, saying like, hey, do you support this guy talking about the Casagrandes in the Loud House? And of course you didn't. So that's good to hear, but you were a fan of him.
I did. So. I used to, yeah, but I can comfortably say, not anymore. Screw that guy. I'm done with him.
Okay, that's good, because to be honest, his fan base looks terrible like shit, and I really cannot go into those YouTube reviewers and just really don't want to associate with them at all. I mean, they're probably going to be following.
There is fanboys who worship Mr. Enter like some sort of god, and I'm just like, there are much better internet reviewers, much better animation reviewers. Saber Spark, Pie Guy Rules.
Yeah.
Animat especially. Animat is my favorite one, honestly.
Exactly. So if there's more YouTube reviewers out there, we should probably do some more things where we can actually review episodes of the Loud House and Casagrandes. Maybe we should do that. I think that would be a pretty cool thing. I mean, we have this whole fan page, and all we're doing is LoudCasa Talks. Maybe we could do a YouTube review of every episode of the Loud House. Unlike one person that also does that, Mr. Yoshi Player. Now, I know you never heard of Yoshi Player, Omid, but oh boy, let's continue on with what he does.
Yeah, honestly, aside from the one video on Animat, I don't think I've watched much of his content at all.
Don't like if you're gonna start talking about Yoshi Player, don't talk about him. To say the least, this is a perfect example of a nitpicker. Like, this person would nitpick every single little aspect of a Loud House episode and would complain about it like anything. And I'm like, dude, you don't take this way too seriously. This is just a show where it's pretty much a slice of life show. It's not going to have a spotlight or anything like that. This isn't like the Owl House or the Gravity Falls. This is pretty much a slice of life episode like Big City Greens. And to be honest, those shows are absolutely great. Here's what got irked me with Mr. Yoshi Player. He reviewed pretty much every episode of the Loud House, and his reviews were really, well, to say the least, very nitpicky, and he kept on really complaining about those episodes. He really was an absolute not a person that you really want to follow. What kind of irked me was that he really hated Schooled, and I was like, why? Oh, the plot line was, everything was all shit, then it went back to normal. I mean, that's how the whole episode was supposed to make change and make it back to normal. I must say, it was a really good episode, but the way that he sees it, he says it in a different way that I thought was really not right. And to say the least, what's kind of funny about this is that after he reviewed the schooled episode for the Loud House, he stopped reviewing Loud House overall. But you can still see his videos right now on his channel. And like I said, most of the episodes that he reviewed are absolutely the way that he reviews it's 5 out of 6. He will have a couple of good episodes, to say the least, but every episode that he talks about have all been criticized. He always criticized every little aspect of an episode, and this is an example of a person that you don't want to follow at all. Look, you'll have bad episodes, but you can't say this episode was bad because Luna didn't really loud music was bad because Luna didn't go for her dream. I'm like, but that's not the whole point of this episode. We could complain more about it, but I mean, I'm not gonna force you to watch a Mr. Yoshi Player Yoshi Player YouTube review, but to say the least, you can avoid him at all costs. The way that he reviews his episodes are absolutely not nice at all.
Yeah, honestly, judging by the way you said it, I think I'm just gonna steer clear from those
Yeah, and
videos.
it's a good thing that I'm bringing it up here because there's a lot of people that are out here that actually talk about Yoshi Player. Like, I go to Discord servers, they'll bring up a review talk. They will bring up a video talking about Yoshi Player and his review on this episode or that episode of the Loud House, and you know it's going to be all bad. We already know his history. He knows that he hates the show. Like, then why do you continue supporting the show? Why do you keep on watching the show and continue to criticize it and put it on your channel? You're going to continue to influence more of your viewers to not like the Loud House, and that's not the way that we want to do. That's not the way that you want to show your viewers how the Loud House is. That's really like misleading for one thing, and the other thing too is like you're really a bad example to say, a bad influencer in this case.
Yeah, seriously, honestly, like I said, I think I'm gonna steer clear from that because I think what Yoshi Player is doing is just spreading negativity in the Loud House, and honestly, the last thing we need in the Loud House is extreme negativity.
Yeah,
And I feel that's what some of the fans are doing as well. Like people like Yoshi Player and Mr. Enter and the toxic fans, they're it's like their main job, their main goal is to spread negativity to the fan base, and we don't tolerate that at all.
No, we don't. And it's kind of weird that I would love to that I keep on seeing things about videos with Yoshi Player whenever he puts it up, but thankfully he's finished with the Loud House episode, so he stopped reviewing episodes since school ended. So to say the least, the next upcoming season 5 episodes are pretty much non-reviewable by him, so thank God. But his history of reviewing Loud House episodes are still there, so if anybody is interested to see what Yoshi Player has been reviewing, go ahead and watch him. I'm just warning you all that it's not good. It's really not good.
Take
All
his
right.
word for it. He's seen it, so
Yeah, I've seen it. It's not good. Anyways, let's move on from the YouTube reviewers. Let's actually talk about some more intolerable fans of the LoudCasa fandom. Now, there's some fans that absolutely that like obviously likes the Loud House and the Casagrandes, but there are some fans that complain the heck out of the show, like nitpickers. Like they say, like this part sucks, that part sucks, etc., etc. But like I said, it doesn't really make the show bad if one episode is bad. What are your thoughts on these people that keep on nitpicking things and complain a lot about the show?
honestly, those people are either trolls or those people that nitpick and complain because it's their favorite hobby. Or maybe it's a combination of the two. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, these are like fans that you don't want to like associate with at all. I mean, if they continue to like nitpick and stuff like that, these are people that you don't really want to hang out with. They're just going to continue to downplay the episode, any episode of the Loud House and Casagrandes, if they're just going to be, show off like that,
True.
Yeah. So what's also worse is that they do something that would attack fans. I mean, I always see them on social media attacking fans' views on things like episodes, ships, thoughts about the show, or anything like that. This reflects to cyberbullying. I mean, to be honest, it is. I mean, look, you're really going to complain things like that, and you're just pretty much being a bully in this case. You're just continuing to like make people sad with all the comments that you talk about when somebody just brings up their opinion on Twitter or Facebook or any other kind of social media. This just makes you a really bad person. Do you think so as well?
Yeah, because people, at the end of the day, opinions are just opinions. Okay? We can have different opinions, honestly, like bad opinions are nothing to be allergic to. Okay? I'm just saying. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like honestly, we can agree to disagree. There is such a thing as that. Agree to disagree. Okay?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
honestly, it's not the matter of the opinion itself, it's how they handle their own opinion. It's how they present their own opinion. And the way that the fans are presenting their own opinions is just way too toxic and just way too nasty.
Right. And these fans you just don't want to associate with at all. I mean, look, I've had some run-ins with people that continue to complain about things like that. And I really don't want to, associate with them as much anymore if they're going to continue to complain and things like that. But the other thing too is like, you don't want to go personal when it comes to things like that. Like, I don't know I don't know how a perfect example could say to this, but I remember there's like some certain people on Twitter that could continue to downplay any kind of comment that will say about like, oh, like Radian and Lincoln should become a perfect ship together. But then there's another person that will pop up and say like Radican is used for et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that makes you feel bad. Or like another person who's like shipping Luna and Sam. but they obviously downplay that as well, saying that Luna and Sam are blah blah blah. Look, those kind of comments are absolutely hurtful, and it really is not okay. But fans still continue to do that, and I'm like, why? Why's your point on that? Do you really want to put a point that you hate this ship, that you hate that ship? I don't understand that.
Yeah, neither do I. But then again, toxic fans will be toxic fans. So honestly, if they want to have that mindset, then honestly, the fault is entirely on them. It's not on us. So
Exactly. And the other thing too is like what other people would see from what you say is what will reflect from you. Like for example, you might say a comment that might be a little bit negative. So in a way, when you say some negative comments, you should probably do something about what you said. Say like, do you want to defend your what you said, or do you want to change your opinion on this? Because at the end of the day, you would still, I mean, you'll have your own opinions to yourself, but to say the least, whatever you say out loud will obviously make your reputation what it is, you know?
true.
Yeah. Now, also saw users call out these fans on social media, bring awareness to a person that we should not associate with. And I see this everywhere on Twitter, people calling out people. I mean, like for Jake Stone, for example, who did that whole stupid "do not age up the louds." I understand that he has his own opinions, and people are calling him out on that. Like, is this a good thing? Is this a good way for us to say, hey, we should take this person out, or things like that, or we should be aware of this person, or does this make us look bad that we're pointing out this person who's absolutely illogical?
Honestly, it pretty much depends on how far this person takes it. Like honestly, like if it's like going on and on and on, like and it's up to a point where he doesn't learn his lesson. Like you need to call him out. Like we need to call this person out to make sure that he's exposed, so that people will know, um so that he can learn his lesson, hopefully, and just because actions do have consequences. And honestly, um the way I see it, it goes like in a few phases. Like phase one, like you can pretty much comment on him, tell him why he's wrong. Phase two, you can expose what he said, but sort of censor out the name to sort of avoid um trolls and people going after him. But phase three, like when it gets up to a point where it's highly toxic and dangerous, you expose the hell out of him.
Yeah, and in this case, for the person who made "Do Not Age Up the Louds," does it make sense for people to call him out?
It does make sense. It does make sense in my opinion, because like I said, like going back to what we said about the whole "do not age up the louds" thing, it completely goes against one of the most important tropes in media, which is a time skip. And because like I said, time skip is very important because it helps the characters grow and learn from their old experiences, and helps them become the characters that they are currently in the time skip. But it also opens up new doors and opens up new possibilities of new stories and new dilemmas that the characters go through in their character arcs in set time skips.
Right, right. Um, yeah, I mean, here's the other thing too. I mean, like we're a huge fan page of the Loud House. Everyone knows us. Everyone knows that we're like people follow us because we give out information about the Loud House and the Casagrandes. There's some things where we actually do call out people, and part of it is on me because I'm the one who actually runs the Twitter. There's been times where I actually did call out people. One in particular would be uh, well, I don't know if Smart Man Vuk actually is still here, but you know him. He absolutely
Yeah.
was a homophobe. Really hated Sam and Luna. The way that I approached it was when we saw him comment on our Facebook about his talk about Sam and Luna, we immediately red flagged him and actually called him out on that. At first, it felt good, but at the same time, it made me feel like a bad person to call him out and pretty much eradicate him from the Loud House fandom. I don't know if that was actually a good thing for us to do.
Well, honestly, because here's the thing, like Sprite Booth, he's done this numerous times. Like even when he says he doesn't do it again, he does it again anyways. So honestly, when a person takes it up to that level, like the highest level, then honestly, you should honestly, it is a good idea to red flag him because it means that hopefully it'll put a stop to it once and for all.
Right, right. I mean, there's a lot of numerous people out there that we're going to talk about here, but I'm not going to point out names anymore. I mean, look, they might be listening to us and they're probably going to be like hating on us again. And I'm like, dude, yeah, there's a reason why we call out people, but I'm not going to go on a level. I mean, like, the thing is that, yeah, we get furious. We'll call out people on Twitter, but I will not, yeah, I will be at fault for having people get embarrassed and things like that. But I have to say, I'm sorry. I was absolutely sorry if I'm going to say something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm angry. I was angry. So sorry if that happened. But it's really weird how to phrase this. I mean, we're growing up.
It's perfectly understandable. I mean, I get pissed off too, especially if it's Sprite Food constantly, talking crap about my OTP, Saluna. So honestly, this is something that, personally offends me, but I digress.
Right, right. I don't know. I mean, the way we kind of did stuff on our social medias. I mean, we're obviously going to change our aspects on that. If you guys are on your social medias calling out people, then you go ahead and do that. But I'm just saying out there, like, really think about what you post, because you might hurt a person, you might not. But does that person deserve the hurt? Does that person deserve the embarrassment? That's really up to you.
There's such a thing as, does the punishment fit the crime, in a sense.
Right, right. And I don't know, like, the things that I do whenever I run a page like this, and then sometimes I get angry and post up stuff on social medias. It's just straight up, just out of furious and stuff like that. I mean, you kind of pitch my nerve, or you pulled me the wrong way. That's the reason why this happened. So yeah. And like I said, I am being promising here, we are not going to be doing a lot of those call out posts anymore, because those things, it just makes you look like a bad person to me. In my case, it just makes you look like a bad person to call out people like that,
Yeah, it's sort of what one says does have an effect on the one person himself. So you bring up a point there.
Right, right. Well, anyways, yeah. Well, let's move on to another. Let's move on, because to say the least, it's best to not hang out with these fans. I mean, it's a little obvious. You don't want to hang out with these quote unquote fans. You may say they're a part of the fandom, but if they continue to complain or downgrade things from the show, then rethink your opinions on them. I mean, eventually they'll fall from the fandom, but you do not want to be influenced with what they want to say. Don't you agree?
Yeah, you don't, because it will come back to. Chances are it might come back to bite you in the butt later, because, well, it's the internet, and chances are that there's going to be like one or two people that are going to like pretty much sort of like dig deep into your past and then use the past against you. So especially on the internet, you don't want to end up saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of intolerable fans out there for the LoudCasa fandom, but to say the least, it's your own opinion if you want to just do things to call them out, or things like that. But to say the least, you really got to do your own judgment on certain fans. If they start to complain and do things like that, you don't want to associate with them. That's for sure. But if they start to get annoying, I mean, like, there's a lot of options for you to not, follow the people. To say the least, there's a block button, there's an unfriend button, there's a lot of things that you could like block the person away from, following them.
Yeah, it's clearly visible, guys,
Exactly. And there's also things where you can probably not go on social media. That could be an option too. I mean, like, there's some people that are commenting right now about DeviantArt. We understand DeviantArt. DeviantArt's terrible, actually. Yeah, I'm not a fan of DeviantArt. All right. Anyways, there's a lot to talk about on this one, but yeah, just be judgmental when it comes to your fans. Just make sure whenever you see fans that start to complain and do things like that, you want to make sure that they're real fans, okay? That they continue to support the show and not really be a big butt about how the show is being run, things like that,
Yeah, true. Like I said, it's not a matter of, it's not the opinion that is bad. It's not the opinion itself that is, what do I say? It's not the opinion itself that is morally wrong. It's how one handles a said opinion that really does make a difference.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for our Loud Casa talk. So I want to thank everybody who has been following up on our YouTube page, who have been, putting up the comments. So thank you very much for checking out on the stream. I do want to let everybody know that you can listen to our podcast on all of our podcast providers, including Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all of our other podcast providers. So if you want to listen to our podcast episode there, you are free to do so. And make sure you subscribe and also support our YouTube channel as well. So our next episode, we're going to conclude our 4-part series with the Loud Casa fandom by talking about the real fans of the fandom. We're actually going to be a little bit more, bright on this on this subject here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to talk about how you can be able to find good fans, how to find them, how to associate with them, so that you could have a fun time here at the Loud Casa fandom.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just let's make it a sunny day, like after a rainy day.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that'll be our next episode. We want to try to do as much episodes because I know we have been out for so long. We'll try to do it like one every week if possible. So if you guys are still listening in, please do. We try to do it as much as we can. So yeah. But anyways, that's it for our Loud Casa Talks episode. Thank you very much for listening in. My name is Nate.
And this is Omid.
We're signing off out of this episode.
And until next time, see you later, dudes.
All right. Thank you very much for listening in. We'll see you on the next one.